Have you ever looked at an animal in your life and thought, I don't think you're an accident? Not how you met, not when you met, and not the relationship it became. Today, I want to talk about what I call divine appointments with animals and how those moments are also soul appointments and sacred appointments that shape our lives far more deeply than we realize. In my work with my own animals and with the people who love them, I've seen this truth time and time again. Animals don't just enter our lives, they arrive. They arrive during grief, during illness, during major life transitions, during moments when our hearts are cracking open or being asked to. And when we look back, we often realize that timing was impossible to ignore. So today, I want to give you language for something that you may have felt your entire life, but never had words for. So let's start with divine appointment. This is the language of orchestration. A divine appointment is the moment when something larger than us, spirit, source, life, universe, higher intelligence, moves the pieces into place. You meet an animal at the exact moment that you needed grounding. This has happened to me so many times. When your heart was breaking and, when your life was quietly falling apart, unraveling, or even this, when you were about to become someone new. Divine appointment answers the question, was this random? And the answer is nope. Divine appointments are about timing. They remind us that life is not happening to us, but through us. Now let's go a little deeper because timing alone doesn't explain the recognition. That's where soul appointment comes in. A soul appointment speaks to an agreement, a mutual yes that exists beyond this lifetime. This is why some animals feel instantly familiar and why you look into their eyes and you feel something ancient stir, you recognize them. It's why the bond goes beyond personality or training or circumstance. A soul appointment answers the question, why this animal? And the answer is because your souls recognized one another. In soul appointments, animals are not here only to serve humans. There is no hierarchy. There's shared learning and shared evolution. It's beautiful. Some animals come in as healers and some come as mirrors. And all of this may mix for your animals. Some as anchors, some as awakeners, catalysts, and they definitely come to walk us through very specific chapters of our lives. There's something else that's often gets missed in these conversations, and it's really important to understand. Animals don't only come into our lives for us, they also come for each other. Why, you may ask? Because they have their own soul growth, their own soul lessons, their own soul paths. I have seen this countless times. One animal arrives, and then, almost like clockwork, another follows. And somehow, the two of them find each other. It's beautiful. They become companions, best friends, co-regulators, their emotional support for each other, and sometimes even co-teachers. And this is because animals also have their own soul appointments with each other. They recognize one another. They complete experiences together and take the journey together. They form bonds that are just as real and purposeful as ours. And again, I've seen this play out very clearly with my own animals. Beezy and Ernie, uh, let me tell you about them real quickly. So Beezy came, she was a boxer mix, and she was wild. She was young, she was wild. And shortly after that, Ernie came. He's a Beagle boy, and he came in the most unusual circumstances. I'll share another video with you how Ernie came. It was quite magical. So at any rate, Ernie comes. He's wild too. They instantly gravitated toward each other and spent their whole lives together. He balanced her out. She balanced him out. It was so sweet and beautiful to watch, so touching. And I had a dog named Evie. She came, a shepherd mix, beautiful, beautiful spirit, very gentle, very loving, mother-like, and she showed up. And then, shortly after that, Bean showed up. Little Bean was thrown out into the brush and was very, very sick. She was about 9 weeks old, and she spent about a week, really back and forth of, between deciding to stay here or leaving. And it was so beautiful because once she started to heal for good and go in the right direction, Evie took her under her wing and mothered Bean. And they weren't even that far in age, except Evie was, probably a year when Bean came. But it was so beautiful. And then there was Jack and Autumn. Oh, Jack's a large border collie mix, and he is also very kind of high strung too. And Autumn came shortly after that. She had been hit by a car and needed recovery, but she turned out to be this like really sweet, sweet soul, just so gentle. And Jack absolutely fell in love with her. And they have been best friends and companions and sitting outside together, so beautiful. And Autumn just passed, and so Jack is a little lonely right now, and I feel for him because it's like that companion that you'll always want to be with the rest of your life. So think about this for your own life if you've ever observed that in the animals. Sometimes animals don't just come individually either. Just like I've said, they come as soul teams to help us. And I will be honest, pretty sure it has taken a village with me. But each one carries a different role, a slightly different energy, a different way of supporting the human that they're connected to. So one might ground you, another might soften your heart, and another might reflect your emotional state. And they may do all those things. And another one might guide you toward growth. I know Murphy did that for me. And together, they form kind of an energetic triangle, animal to animal, animal to human, soul to soul. They're not just living alongside one another. They're coordinating, collaborating. And now we arrive at the third layer, the sacred appointment. This is the language of reverence. Sacred appointment doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the heart and in the body. It's why the bond feels holy, because it is. Why the love reshapes you. Why, when loss comes, the grief can feel absolutely unbearable. Sacred appointment answers this question. Why does this matter so much? And the answer is because sacred bonds change us forever. Sacred doesn't mean easy. It means worthy of reverence. And, here's what most people have never, ever been taught. A divine appointment brings you together. A soul appointment explains why you recognize each other. A sacred appointment honors what the relationship becomes. And often, the animals don't just come for you. As I mentioned, they come for each other, and together they guided you. Animals frequently work in harmony, tag teaming our nervous system, our hearts, and all of our healing process. You know, one holds the field steady. I know Murphy did that. Another nudges growth. Another bridges worlds. This is orchestration. This is so important to say. Sometimes people believe that if an animal leaves too soon, that something went wrong. Have you ever thought that? But in soul work, we understand something far deeper. And you know what? Some appointments include departure as part of the design, almost always. Not as punishment, not as failure, but as true transformation. And sometimes when an animal completes their role, another arrives, not as a replacement, but as a continuation of the soul's work. And sometimes the remaining animals actually step into new roles, adjusting the balance and continuing the assignment. So you may recognize this if the timing of meeting them was uncanny, that they arrived during a major transition. They reflected your unhealed places without judgment. They changed how you relate to love and presence. They remain energetically close even after passing. If this feels familiar, it's because your heart already knows. So how do we honor these appointments? We move from control to curiosity. We stop asking, how do I make this perfect? And begin asking, what is this relationship revealing? We listen. We soften. We allow ourselves to be changed. Because animals don't just walk beside us. They shape who we become. I know I have been forever changed for the better from my relationships with my animals. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So I'll leave you with this. What changed in you because of the animals who have loved you? Not just what you gave them, but what they unlocked in you. That's the mark of divine appointment, a soul agreement, and a sacred bond. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to share in the comments which animal in your life feels like a soul or a sacred appointment. And if you'd like more teachings on animal communications, grief, healing, and soul-to-soul relationships, please like and subscribe and share this with someone who needs it. Because the animals who find us always come with purpose.